Okay, great. Moving on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Spacebar, where I'm also from. Spacebar, Team AO building Spacebar is one of the representative projects building on ERC-6551, and also the main host for today. So Spacebar will be presenting about how Spacebar is adopting ERC-6551. I'll invite Christy first to the stage.
Hello. Is this going to work? Okay. Okay. Okay, it's going to work. Okay. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Doing great? Yeah, wow, full house today. Awesome. Well, we're super glad to be co-hosting this event with Tokenbound Accounts and Benny. Thanks so much for being here today. My name is Christy Choi. Yes, and I am the co-founder of AO Labs building Spacebar. We're super happy to be having you all, and super happy to be sharing what Spacebar is up to with ERC-6551. Since Benny has shared with you what ERC-6551 token-bound accounts are, I'm sure the builders in the house are super curious about what it actually means to adopt it in a product. Yeah? Yeah? Everyone with me? Awesome. So we are Spacebar, and we will be talking about why we implemented ERC-6551 and as a game. And we will be deep diving into the technical details, which my teammates over there, Coli and Pluto, will be deep diving on. But I guess before we share about the nitty-gritty details, I thought it makes a lot of sense for us to give a high-level overview of what Spacebar is and why we ended up implementing ERC-6551 and became the first game ever to be doing so. So, what is Spacebar? Spacebar is a playground for on-chain identities and communities. Playground, on-chain identities, and communities. I'll let that sink for a second. This is a tweet that I tweeted out about a week ago. That Spacebar is on-chain identities, token-bound accounts, NPCs, social, on-chain gaming. All the great concepts, right? While these are all very important building blocks of Web3, we at Spacebar definitely believe that what will onboard the next billions of users into Web3 is not just going to be about the concepts, but about packaging those concepts into a great interactive interface and also packaging them into a beautiful user experience. So that is essentially what we're doing at Spacebar. We at Spacebar are constantly experimenting, we're gamifying, and composing across different building blocks, on-chain activities, as the list just goes on and on. And some include account abstractions, NFTs and on-chain identities, on-chain achievements and reputations, DAOs and guilds, staking, cross-chain bridging. And these are all very important concepts that I just mentioned. And the way how we're doing it is we're building a game. But we're building a Web3 native game more as an interactive interface to compose across these building blocks. And we do it by constantly evolving the game by producing new versions based on community feedback so that we grow with the community based on what they care more about and prioritizing the building blocks based on that. Well, ELI 5 simply said, while we have a very ambitious vision of composing all of these together, the first ever version of Spacebar, the Universe 1, is just having everyone bring whatever PFP NFT they have, whether it's Doodles, whether it's Pudgy Penguin, Azuki, or Sapiens, or any sort of NFT you have, you just bring it on that you identify the most as your digital identity. You start playing the game. There's a core game loop where people play different games. There's also the meta game that surrounds it, where you will be competing against each other. There will be a leaderboard. You will be getting a lot of on-chain achievements and reputations around it. And that is how you start building your identity around your PFP NFT. And then, based on that, I guess having your identity means you are now ready to really socialize and really draw a social graph within Onchain. So that is essentially what we're doing as of now. And I guess now I will move on to like why we ended up building on ERC-6551. I guess one of the main benefits of adopting it was that because our entire goal at Spacebar is about gamifying and visualizing your on-chain wallet activities, it just made it really, really easier for us as we are also going to adopt people signing up with our PFP NFT, visualize the entire experience. But also, before ERC-6551, basically all your assets were sitting in the same layer, meaning your PFP NFTs, the on-chain game assets, the soulbound tokens, everything was just lying on your EOA wallet. But then with the adoption of ERC-6551, we basically started creating this ownership tree, which again, my teammates will be further digging into. But through this, our spaceship that you guys will see everywhere is not just the vehicle that your NFT onboards, but it's sort of the container of all the on-game assets that you earn is owned by the spaceship that is owned by your PFP NFT. Hence, it adds up even more on building your on-chain identity. And so the value is constantly being accrued at the PFP NFT level. And of course, being a longtime friend with Benny since 2018, we chatted about Spacebar, how we are ambitious about building sort of this social playground where people can just hang out with their on-chain identities and start growing different communities across different chains, across different NFT communities. And Benny started, I guess, ERC-6551. And because Spacebar was already thinking about and building around on-chain identities, we were fast enough, agile enough to become the first game to be adopting ERC-6551, and we're very happy to be sharing the details and our journey of how that went so far. And this is a quick, I guess, snippet of what you will be seeing after Spacebar. But now I would like to introduce and invite my teammates, Pluto and Coli, over to the stage.
Wow, hello. Thank you all for coming here. I'm so excited and nervous. And let me introduce myself. My name is Pluto. I'm a blockchain developer at Spacebar. And in this presentation, we will talk about some challenges and difficulties we had integrating ERC-6551 to Spacebar from UI perspective, and then move on to technical perspective. And then finally, I will walk you through the actual product. So starting from UI, let me introduce Coli.
Hi, I'm Coli. I'm a UX UI designer at Spacebar. I'm one of the builders who believe in the power of UX, and I'm obsessed with designing better UX. Is anyone here with me? Thank you. Hope this session helps. Let's go. My first impression on ERC-6551 standard was, wow, this is a game changer, especially from UX perspective. But in the process of designing the UX with the new standard, we came across some interesting challenges. Before I share the challenges, let's take a look at UX principles we defined. First, keep things simple. Second, visualize intuitively and let users experience firsthand. Finally, minimize situations where users feel they have made a mistake. Based on these three principles, let's dive into what kind of challenges we had and our answer to them. First challenge, Hierarchy of NFTs within Spacebar. There are many assets our users can collect. Spaceship, squares, badges, and so on. We also had to consider how to connect with PFP NFT, so we needed to design the structure of this asset. What goes on the what? Which one is the root NFT that owns the other NFTs? We considered so many different options like these and many more. Top keys. Among these three options, which one did Spacebar take? A, B, C? Of course, the easiest approach would be to add all NFTs in our spaceship NFT. I heard there's a lot of Pochi Penguin holders here today. Would you want to transfer your Pochi NFT into our spaceship NFT? Probably not, right? Also, if you sell spaceship NFT and forgot that spaceship NFT owns your PFP NFT, then the PFP NFT also goes away. This would be a huge mistake. Based on our principles, we chose this structure. Many of you feel that your PFP NFT is your identity, right? So your PFP NFT holding the spaceship NFT, it's more intuitive and simple. Also this way, you get to increase the value of your PFP NFT as it holding these new assets. For example, this Pochi Penguin NFT's value might be bigger than when it had nothing. Second challenge, how to make the experience learning about Tokenbound account fun. Having fun is so important. This instant experience can change everything. In Spacebar, we whitelist users by this SBT called W key. For our first 128 users, we create a custom-made W key utilizing the user's PFP NFT. And this W key is minted to the PFP NFT itself. Our users' feedback were insane. They were like, it's the first time ever that my Pochi, my Clonex, my Doodles actually own something. Users' first experience of Tokenbound account is fun and simple. Challenge 3. How can we help users better understand the concept of Tokenbound account? We wanted users to really feel what the TBA is all about during their Spacebar journey. And I thought, what Spacebar can do well is visualization. First example of visualization was wallet addresses of NFTs. Tokenbound account means each NFT is a smart contract wallet, but most people don't know that. So we always show wallet addresses for each NFTs. It is the best way to understand the concept of NFT being a wallet. Also, we try to clearly show where each asset is being minted to. When users mint Spaceship NFT, they can understand that it is being minted to their PFP NFT. It's similar to when we save files, we choose where to save. Even more so, users can move or transfer the NFTs wherever they want, away from where they were minted to. For example, at first, Score NFT is minted to Spaceship NFT. But users might transfer Score NFT to EOA, their MetaMask wallet. Letting users clearly know where their tokens are located is so important. That's why we are planning for 2 updates. One is in our backspace, which is the private space for each user. In backspace, we will show the tree of NFTs. In this OpenSea page, you can see what kind of assets this Sapiens NFT owns. Any project can do this by using TBA iframe that is open sourced. So in the future, we are planning to use this iframe as well to show the assets of Spaceship NFT. Last challenge. How can users deploy NFT more easily? For your background information, even if the NFT is not deployed, you can add assets to that NFT. But if you want to do transactions like transferring of assets, your NFT needs to get deployed. See you deploy account button in tokenbound.org. This is the transaction that costs gas fee. So for example, your PFP NFT owns Spaceship NFT. If we want to sell your Spaceship NFT, your PFP NFT needs to get deployed. However, most of users might not understand the concept of NFT deployment. If we make users to go Tokenbound website to deploy, that would be a bad UX. So in Spacebar, users deployed the Spaceship NFT at the point of minting. Basically, two transactions are combined into one. This way, it is simpler for users and save gas fees. This is the end of my presentation, and we will continue to try our best to give better user experience. Next, I'd like to give the floor to Pluto.
Okay, back again. This is Pluto. And before I start, how many of you guys are software developers? Or, wow, that's a lot. How many of you are familiar with Solidity? Oh, a lot of guys? Okay, thank you. So for some of you, it's gonna be hard. For some of you, it's gonna be really easy. And some of you are better than me, but I will try my best to satisfy all of you. So from here, I'll share more learnings from technical perspective, and then I will walk you through the actual product. The first thing was also about the structure. Although Coli mentioned earlier, that was the UI point of view, and there was also a concern from technical point of view. So in case of putting all assets under PFP, like structure number 1, all assets are flat under PFP, and it's all simple and intuitive. However, let's assume that a Spaceship NFT is sold or burned. In this case, we have to transfer or burn all other assets that are related to that Spaceship NFT. And assuming that the number of assets that are related to the Spaceship NFT can grow infinitely, the cost of migration can be very costly. However, if we structure like case number 2, everything becomes so simple. Every asset is bundled under that Spaceship NFT. So you can just burn or transfer that NFT, and that's it. No matter how many assets that you have, it's all done in one simple transaction. And even though it adds another depth to the tree, we thought there are more advantages, so we chose this structure. And another thing that I had to consider is that 6551 has not been finalized yet. So 6551 is still in review status, meaning that it's subject to breaking changes. And in fact, they're developing a new version of it. So as you might know, if new 6551 is deployed, the TBA has to be deployed again to utilize those updates. So to handle this flexibly, we isolated 6551 related logics to the Space Factory contract, which is an upgradable contract. So by doing so, even if in the future there may be a migration of TBA, but we can still handle this flexibly. Oh, another interesting part was about the whitelist badge. Generally, project whitelist by storing EOA address, storing wallet addresses on the server or wallet addresses in the smart contract. But we wondered if there's another interesting way to do this. Then suddenly, we had this idea of minting whitelist SBT directly to users' PFP. By doing so, we can not only whitelist PFPs, but we can also provide some awesome 6551 experience. The first asset that your PFP will hold is the Spacebar W key, and how cool is that? Yay, hey! And just a quick, from a writing solidity point of view, the 6551 related part can be implemented very easily using token-bound registry contract. So I'll just take a quick look. It takes the contract address and token ID of the PFP. And then from the registry, we can calculate the profile TBA address to which we will mint whitelist batch. And then this function is for minting the actual spaceship. It checks the caller actually own the NFT, and then also they calculate the address from the token-bound registry, and check if that TBA owns the whitelist badge, and if all conditions are met, like spaceship is minted to the TBA address. So it's quite simple to write Solidity codes. And before we dive into the actual product demo, here's some few tips to keep in mind. First one is that before sending transaction from TBA, make sure it has been deployed. So for those of you who are not familiar, TBA address is determined by these parameters. That is why even before the wallet deployment, we know the address beforehand. So at this point, there's no problem sending assets to that TBA, to that address. However, only after you deploy your TBA wallet can you execute functions as TBA. For example, transferring assets from TBA to another address. So if it has not been deployed, your transaction may appear successful, but it won't work. So please double check for TBA deployment. And then for some users and developers who are not familiar with blockchain, they ask whether the TBA needs to hold gas fees. And the answer is no, you don't have to deposit either to TBA. The account that executes the transaction, aka the NFT holding account, is the one that pays for the gas. And then don't assume that the TBA address will always be the same, as I mentioned earlier. Also, in some cases, one NFT can have multiple TBAs with different addresses, so you have to be careful. And this one is you can take OpenSea URL and replace it with tokenbound.org, and that's where you can explore all your TBA assets. And finally, be careful as the depth of TBA tree increases, because there can be TBA address for NFT and TBA address for NFT's NFT, and so on. This is easy to make mistakes, and I made a lot of mistakes too. Okay, let's go to the product demo. Oh, I'm nervous. Okay. Yeah, but I have backup videos, so it's okay. Okay. So this is Spacebar LinkedIn page. And then let's move on. Spacebar. Playground for on-chain identities, bring your PFP, socialize and play, let's connect. Sign in. And then I'll proceed. GM, enter Spacebar. Awaken your NFT in your wallet. It's sleeping in your wallet. Let's awaken it. And choose the NFT to play. Okay, so here's the list of NFTs that I have, PFPs that I have. Of course, this is testnet, so this CryptoPunk is not real, but I wish it was real. So this is me. Oh, okay. So NFT, thank you. NFT as your on-chain identity. And here's some descriptions, and let's go ahead and claim prototype and deploy TBA. Do you know why? Because you don't have whitelist SBT. So let's go and mint the whitelist batch here. So let's go here, and I prepared this. MetaMask pops up, and this is for minting whitelisting badge to that PFP. And wait a little second. So this is the Tokenbound website, and let's refresh. Sometimes it takes a few seconds or more. Oh, there you go. Oh. Wow, thanks God. Okay, so here's the CryptoPunk, and here's your whitelist badge. So CryptoPunk TBA owns this badge. And let's go back to the screen and let's claim again. And then MetaMask pops up. Confirm. This takes some time too, processing. So please be patient. Sometimes you go here. Oh yeah, it's creating user profile. Why is she so nervous every time? So here's your PFP on Spacebar, and here's your spaceship, and then you can check. Also go to TBA Tokenbound and explore, and here's your spaceship NFT here. So it's minted to your PFP, and let's go enter Spacebar. Okay, here's the, okay. Hello, GM. Here's some star doodles. We can like hang out. Here's some cute Mickey Mouse. Oh, sorry. 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 Sorry, GM. And this is, single player is upcoming, so stay tuned, 6551, and I'll go to Backspace. Backspace is the private space. We're gonna add more features, but here's the Stadio, and you can go to Marketplace, Square. Also, you can explore your assets here. Yeah, it's so. Yep, this is the end of demo. Thank you. So I'll go back to the presentation. So finally, before I end the presentation, there are some future agendas to work on. So we're currently connecting users' wallet through libraries such as RainbowKit or WAGMI. However, this only connects to users' EOA account, not directly to PFP TBA. So we're working figuring out a way to directly connect to NFTs while it's still using MetaMask, like not Wallet Connect. And also, Tokenbound team is working on the cross-chain, multi-chain execution. And when this is complete, we may consider using layer 2 for some transactions. And we'll also allow Spaceship TBAs to have various items such as scores, badges, and so on. And last but not least, we are working on more exciting features such as single-player, multiplayer games, tournaments, leaderboards, and so on and so forth. So stay tuned. And this is the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening. I'll pass to Christy.
Awesome. Thank you, Pluto. Thank you, Coli, for the demo. I hope you guys like the product demo of Spacebar. The screen that Pluto shared was a testnet. We are live on Ethereum mainnet, so the game is actually live as of now, though we are capping the number of users so far. If you do want to join and test out Spacebar, we are slowly letting our members in. We've been highly curating the members who are interested in ERC-6551, Onchain Identities, and different building blocks. You do sign up. We'll ping you through your Twitter, DM, and email to let you know that when we're ready. Follow us on Spacebar to stay tuned on what we're building as well. We have some exciting updates coming up, including the single-player mode and many different features to make the game more social and fun and engaging. Thank you so much. This is going to be the end of the presentation from Spacebar side of things. We will open up the floor for folks who do have any questions. We'll be capping it to 2 because we've been having some delay. Any questions? Oh, okay. Daniel, one question.
as Benny mentioned, there are two main players that are on the wave of huge massive options, 6551 and then there's 4337, cap protection. So do you see a world where the two technologies emerge? So when the EOAs, when they sign a transaction, when they execute a transaction, they will fly 4337 at the EOA level, and then also at the TDA level. Do you think there will be more, more features that will reduce friction for the users?
Sure, I think I'll give a high-level overview and then maybe Pluto can add on a technical detail. Yes, ERC-6551 was designed to be compatible with ERC-4337 account abstractions. So it's been designed to be compatible across different EVM chains. So I do believe that is something both ERC-4337 team is working on because I think there's a lot of features going on account abstraction side of things in order for us to really implement from 6551 perspective as well. But for Spacebar, because our entire intention is to utilize all the existing building blocks, and that definitely does include different wallet experiences, including ERC-4337. So it is something that we've been digging into before it got really hot. So we are planning to even create a visualization of what an actual experience is to do cross-chain bridging experiences. And we have a giant plan of how we can visualize that with your spaceship experience as well. So that is definitely something that we are working on. Of course, from a product and project perspective, there has to be some infrastructure that enables it, because right now, even with ERC-6551, we're not going to say the technology itself is perfect right now. We as builders were, I guess, one of the first games or projects to be implementing. We're working on the infrastructure side of things together so that, and there are daily, weekly updates, but I think a lot of contributors, a lot of devs out there are working really, really hard to make improvements and adopt based on our project's perspective. So if you end up building on ERC-6551, I think it's a great opportunity for you to not just build your project, but also contribute in actually the advancement of the new emerging standards and building blocks. Is that a good answer?
Yeah, and I'm also one of the guys who really dreaming of the 4337, the account abstraction and 6551 integrate together, so that you can just bring in your NFT and you don't need to pay for gas and just multi-chains and everything. So from my knowledge, I think the 6551 team is working really hard to integrate those two, but they're having some it's not that easy. So we're also waiting for them. So maybe you can later ask Benny for how's the progress is going. So yeah, I'm also one of the guys who's really looking forward to it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
One more question? Okay. Thank you.
So you have score, identity and score. Can you tell me how the score works inside of the game?
Score. Okay. That's a feature that we'll be releasing in the next few weeks. Good eyes, good eyes. So because we do have the game mode itself within the square that we have showcased today, there's a game, and the game itself has off-chain components, but then because our dream is to be fully on-chain game, autonomous worlds, everything, but we're being very realistic with what is going to be very engaging as of now. So the game itself is off-chain, but then you need to mint your sport NFT in order to be part of the leaderboard, which is actually the beginning of exposing your PFP NFT and start engaging with other users. So there will be some incentive mechanisms in order to reduce that activities and so on and so forth. But yeah, sport NFTs are coming up, and stay tuned for that. Thank you. I think that's going to be the end. We're going to move on. Thank you so much, team.